Companies are spending hundreds of billions of dollars on AI, and trillions could follow. But the most important question isn't which company wins. It's what the rest of us inherit after the race. Because we've seen this pattern before. In the late 1990s, companies became convinced that the internet was going to change everything. Telecom firms raced to lay fiber and build enormous network capacity. Between 1996 and 2000, leading-edge fiber capacity jumped from around 20 gigabits per second to 400. Then, the boom broke. Demand hadn't caught up with the capacity being built. Investment collapsed. Companies failed. Billions were lost. But the fiber remained. The networks improved. Communication became cheaper, and entirely new services were built on top of them. The companies didn't all win, but society still inherited part of what they built. And that's why the comparison with AI becomes interesting. It's not a perfect repeat. Fiber can stay useful for decades. AI chips can become outdated much faster. But the mechanism feels familiar. Huge investment, intense competition, and rapidly falling costs. Because while AI is becoming extraordinarily expensive to build, it's becoming dramatically cheaper to use. Stanford's AI Index found that the cost of using a model with roughly GPT 3.5 level performance fell from around $20 per million tokens to just 7 cents. More than a 280-fold decline. That is the contradiction. Hundreds of billions are being spent building the infrastructure, while the intelligence coming out of it keeps getting cheaper. And that's where this starts reaching us. Because when useful intelligence becomes cheaper, it can enter places where it was previously too expensive to use. We already have evidence of what that can do. In a study involving more than 5,000 customer support workers, generative AI increased productivity by around 14% on average. For newer and lower-skilled workers, the gain was roughly 34%. That doesn't mean the worker disappears. It means the same hour of human time can suddenly produce more. Now spread that idea across translation, research, technical support, software, design, and analysis. A small business may gain capabilities it could never afford before. A worker may be able to handle more tasks without needing as much specialist support. A company may deliver the same service faster or offer more for the same price. But cheaper production does not automatically mean cheaper prices. The gain could become profit. It could become higher wages. It could become a better service. Or competition could force some of that value back to customers. And that is one of the biggest ways this AI race could quietly reach our everyday lives. But there is another side to it. AI may feel like software. Underneath it, AI is extremely physical. Every answer depends on chips, servers, cooling systems, buildings, transformers, grid connections, and electricity. The International Energy Agency projects global data center electricity consumption to reach around 945 terawatt-hours by 2030. And in the United States, data centers account for nearly half of projected electricity demand growth through 2030, in the IEA's base case. One current rack-scale AI system is documented at around 120 kilowatts of power in a single rack. So while intelligence becomes cheaper above the surface, the infrastructure underneath it can become more valuable. Power, land, cooling, grid capacity, construction, capital. And this is how the AI race can reach someone who never pays for an AI subscription at all, through the businesses around them, through the services they use, through infrastructure being built nearby, and through pressure on the energy systems their communities depend on. The AI boom may leave behind useful infrastructure too. Power generation, grid upgrades, buildings, networks. But unlike the fiber left behind by the internet boom, some of AI's most expensive assets, especially advanced chips, may depreciate quickly. So the real question isn't whether AI is simply another dot-com boom. It's what survives the race, what becomes cheaper, what becomes more valuable, and which costs spread into the rest of the economy. For the companies spending the money, this is a race to own the future of AI. For the rest of us, the question is different. If trillions are ultimately spent making intelligence cheaper, faster, and more available, what happens to the things we buy, the services we depend on, the businesses around us, and the infrastructure powering our lives? That's when the AI race stops being just a technology story and becomes an economic story about all of us.